welcome to this week's episode of Ask an HR Expert. Today we are going to be talking about pay equity. And pay equity is what we do to ensure that we have fair and equal pay practices across all employees regardless of age, gender, or any other protected characteristic. So in 2020, the Bureau of Labor Statistics put out that all full-time female employees were making only about 80.4% of what their male counterparts were making. So we can see there's a disparity with gender, but we also know that that also impacts other protected characteristics and ethnicities. So what our goal as good employers is to just decide what kind of employer we want to be, and we can kind of get there through pay equity. So we want to make sure that we're recruiting and retaining employees, both internally and externally. We want to be competitive, and we want to ensure that there's pay equity. So when we talk about pay equity, there's some things that we know kind of govern that federally. So number one, we've got the Equal Pay Act of 1963, we've got Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, we've got the Age Discrimination Act, and then we also have the Americans with Disabilities Act. So all four of those things federally can impact pay equity. On top of that, we are seeing huge trends in states, and they are all impacting pay equity. So lots of states are implementing their own pay equity laws, and we're seeing even by city sometimes that government entities will have those pay equity mandates in place. So one big growing trend that we're seeing in states, and I assume that we're going to be seeing this grow exponentially in the next couple of years, if not sooner, is that the governments are mandating that we don't ask about what someone's salary history is. And so kind of to give you an example of that, maybe you have a candidate that's applying for a job, let's call her Jennifer, and you know that you have a pay budget of $50,000. So if we have a budget of $50,000, we've done our recruiting process, and we know that Jennifer is our very best candidate, but we have asked her salary history and we know that she makes $41,000, what do you think is going to happen? We'll probably offer her that $41,000. But if we hadn't have asked what her salary history is, then we probably would have paid her the $50,000 that we had budgeted, because she's a great candidate and she'll be a great asset to our organization. So you can kind of see how that will impact pay equity and what the thinking is behind that process of kind of banning that question. Some of the things that we wanted to implement best practices with pay equity is have that budget in mind. So when you start a position, you'll want to set the budget for that. So I expect the budget for this position to be between $50,000 and $55,000. If you have that set and it's by the job, then you'll have a much better chance of having pay equity in that position. Make sure that you're paying for the job and that you're applying that consistently across any applicants. Again, like I said before, don't ask for the salary history of a candidate. And then if there are negotiations that have to happen with the pay, then make sure that you're documenting all of those and make sure that you are evaluating the business factors that could impact that pay differential. It's also a really good idea to have checks and balances. So we shouldn't have one person responsible for all the pay. There should be other levels in the organization and management that can have some say on the deviation if the pay needs to go up or below or however that might look, but just make sure that you have that check and balance. Obviously you want to document everything related to all the interview process, including the pay basis. And then the last thing that would be kind of hard to do is if you do have that salary basis set, you want to make sure that you are prepared in your mind to pass on good candidates. Because if you have your pay range set from a certain amount and that person is going to be way over, then you need to be prepared for that. So going back to our example of Jennifer, what we might see is if you did ask for a salary history and you started at a lower amount, and then once the position is hired for, and then you get to merit increases or performance increases, if you've started Jennifer at a lower amount and then they hit these fantastic metrics that they are qualified for performance bonuses or performance increases of 6%, they're already below that amount. So you want to make sure that you have that set so that when people are eligible for those merit increases or performance-based increases, that they're already, and you're not further increasing that pay disparity just simply by them doing a great job. So if you start at that good basis, then you'll be in a good spot. If you are in a position that you think there might be some pay equity issues within your organization, a good thing to do would be to do a pay audit. One thing that you want to keep in mind if you start that is that you should start that with confidentiality, and that would include involving your attorney, having some attorney-client privilege in that, because once it's out there, it's always out there. So you want to make sure that that's not discoverable. If you're doing a good faith effort to try to make things more equitable, start with that confidentiality. If you have any more questions about doing a pay equity audit, let our HR team know and we're happy to help you. Thank you.